Okay, this is December 17th, 2016. Just want to do a quick video on this new tow bar adapter that my own class in auto mechanics and the welding class here at DeKalb County Technology Center just built for my Fastback, or aka Clementine. First, let me start off with why I wanted to do a tow bar to have the capability of towing this car behind my truck. Sometimes I go to car shows that are a little further away from the Sand Mountain area, and my family would like to ride and come with me, of course, and they're not too wild about riding any long distance in an unair-conditioned 40-something-year-old car. So they'd much rather ride in my truck, which has air conditioning, satellite radio, and all that good gobbledygook. So, and I also have some other reasons why. It's just a convenience thing as far as transporting it to and from the shop. When I've got to drive it in my truck all at the same time, it would help me out in some of those situations. Someday, my wife and I plan on getting a motorhome, so it would be nice if we had a motorhome that we would be able to transport it that way, to tow behind a motorhome. So, let me start off. The reason we've got your atypical type 1 standard Beetle tow bar. Now you can get these anywhere. These type of tow bars. They make them because Beetles, of course, are plentiful still, even after all these years. And so you can get them for them and for Super Beetles, and I think maybe even type 2 buses, transporters, whatever you want to call them. They don't make them for type 3s. And the reason why you just can't simply bolt a type 1 versus a type 3 tow bar, or a type 1 tow bar onto a type 3 is, I know with the new adapter in place, it's hard to see, but it's square. The bottom of your front end beam is square, whereas my brother's 71 standard Beetle here, as you can see, it's round. And so it bolts right, it hooks right up to that, no problem. We've already used this tow bar to tow this car several times, and yes, I know it needs new tires on it. The car's fixing to be fully restored here soon, so those tires will be gone. So anyway, I seen this. Somebody I seen on the internet. I had this design similar to this, so I thought, I think we can build that. So I went over it with my welding teacher, and we kind of conspired, I guess, to come up with something like this. He done some really beautiful welds on this. I mean, let me see if I can get the lighting right so you can truly appreciate the welds. I mean, from a structural perspective, I don't see this thing coming or breaking, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The weakest link in this whole setup, and you just see the tow bar is right here. We had the pipe, we couldn't find the right size pipe, so we had to build up the ends of these pipes for various ways to get it to the diameter it needs to be. I had to move my fuel pump because where the U-bolts go, kind of messed up how the fuel pump mounts in there. So I put a little cushion there between it and this plate right here, and drilled some holes and got the fuel pump mounted this way. It's really hard. So let me get on the step ladder so you can see a little more about it. There's a lip that comes out on the bottom of this beam, this front end beam, and we put a 1/4-inch bar, which we had to custom. You can't really see for the fuel pump, but we had to kind of custom cut the top of that bar to slope with the way the beam on this front end is made. And there's a bar, as you can see on the back of this, that's what you're seeing now. And there's another bar just like it on the front of that lip that comes down. So we've got more than just the U-bolts holding this on. When it's being pulled, it will also have pressure on both those and that lip coming down. So I think it's a pretty good setup. Like I said, I think the U-bolts are probably the weak link. I'm going to go back and put another set of nuts on all the ends of the U-bolts and lock the nuts in with those, and maybe put some Loctite on it. These U-bolts, by the way, oh, I didn't mean to get my finger in the way. Sorry about that. I'm having to hold a light and my phone all at the same time recording this. The U-bolts come off a late 60s Ford F100 with a 9-inch rear end. Those were the leaf spring bolts. So I figure if they can hold a rear end in a vehicle like that, they should have no problem performing this task and towing this car. But that's, wow. I'm gonna put undercoating on this, paint and undercoating. Although this car doesn't see rain very much because it's most of the time in the garage. We mainly just drive it on pretty days. That's why I'm not testing it out today, because today it's raining. So I'll probably test it out with it behind the truck. And we'll start it out slow. We'll just do a few laps, slow laps around the campus here at the school, and then bring it back in and make sure everything's holding up fine. And then we may take it out on the streets and do some slow testing on some back streets and stuff. And we'll bring it back in again and check all the bolts and all that to make sure that nothing's, you know, breaking loose or coming loose. And then if it passes all those tests, we'll try it on the open highway. And I've still got to get me a wiring harness so my lights will work with the truck's trailer harness, so we'll have brake lights and turn signals and all that kind of stuff. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Can't believe it took me over 7 minutes to describe this thing, but I guess there's a pretty good amount to it. Let me put the light down. And as you can see, it pivots. The only other problem I have is where this tow bar sits. It sits a little lower than I like for it to. And that's because originally in my design, I was going to just have it, let me get the light back. I was just going to have it to just sit on top of that and have the instructor welded on there. But he suggested we notch it out, which I concurred, because that does make it structurally better. However, in doing that, that lowered this bar down, so that causes our tow bar to set lower. But I'm not really worried about it too much. I don't figure it sets any lower, since this car is not lowered, I don't figure it sets any lower than a, you can't really tell because the bar's sagging down right now, but I don't figure it sets any lower than a tow bar on one of these lowered Beetles that's being towed. So anyway, I think it's going to be okay. I think it'll be fine. Like I said, we got some testing around here, and we're going to slowly do certain stages of the test until I feel confident enough we can tow it on the open highway or the interstate or something like that. It would be a few hurdles we'll have to go through before we get to that point. Anyway,